right, I want to call this meeting of the Simpson County Fiscal Court to order, and I'm going to ask Magistrate Scott Poston if he'd lead us in a prayer, and then we'll follow that with the pledge to the flag.
Heavenly Father, thank you for what you said to me, listen, you give us smile. For all the rich time today, life, for good health. Father, we praise you, our first responders, Father, our sheriff's department, all the other folks also, Father, and pray that what is said and done here today, Father, please you, for in Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'll set everyone's mind at ease in here. You hear me talking a little funny. It's just sinuses and allergies. I'm perfectly safe, other than I can't talk real well. So you may hear my voice come and go, and it may sound like I'm yelling sometimes, but it'll only be because I'm trying to be loud enough to be heard. We are fortunate to have with us today our new, I say new, you've been there a little while now, the director of the Simpson County Tourism, and Amy Ellis is with us, and she's just going to share a few highlights of what's taking place with tourism and things that are going on. Amy, thank you for being here.
Thank you guys for letting me come this morning, and I think this is my first opportunity to get to greet you guys since I've taken the position at tourism, and I want to tell you how excited I am to have the chance to promote Simpson County, and since it is my hometown too, and I love Simpson County, so I think that eventually it's going to be a great opportunity for all of us to try to promote Simpson County across the state. I've only been there a short time. I started July 1st, and it's kind of been a strange opportunity with COVID, and travel has been down because people are afraid to travel, but I only see great things in the future because travel will pick up and things will open back up and things will be hopefully normal again. So I'm looking, and it's actually been good in a way because it's given me a chance to learn. And the tourism industry in the state of Kentucky is awesome. They have a really good network. We have, of course, 120 counties, and each county that has a tourism commission is divided up by region and then by state, and it's a really good network of people to work with. So everyone's been really good about helping me, giving me instruction. We have monthly meetings, and of course it's mostly by Zoom, but I've learned a lot. I feel very comfortable asking questions, and I ask a lot of questions. You guys know me well enough to know that I'm going to ask if I don't know, and maybe that's the reporter and journalism background, but I'll ask him anything if I don't know. So, but I wanted to share with you guys a report that they gave us, and this is actually based on 2019 numbers, and then I'll share with you a little bit about what they've told us about 2020. And I printed this out so that you could kind of take it and look at it, and I'm not going to read it to you because you guys can read perfectly well, but I'm going to show you some of the highlights. I thought it was interesting because it's things that I didn't actually know. And it's a survey that the state does of travelers. And they do this every year. I'm not sure what they did for 2020, but I'm sure that they did survey the travelers that came through. And it'll probably look a little different than this, but this is the travelers that came through in 2019. And as you look through this is just for our region. They do it for the state, and then they break it down by region. And we are the Caves, Lakes, and Corvettes region. So that lumps us in with Bowling Green, Cave City, Allen County, Logan County, the counties in our region. So we kind of go up I-65, which is, of course, we all know, fortunate for us that we have I-65 in our region. Some of the other parts of the state aren't as accessible as we are. So with that being said, if you'll go over to page 4, you'll see why people come. They ask people, why do you come to Kentucky? Why do you come through? Why did you come through? And this is based on a day trip. There are two different reports. One is a day trip and one is an overnight trip. And I did the day trip because this In 2020, they focused, this is the 2019 report, but in 2020, the state has focused more on like a day trip because people are taking more day trips with their families. And this was very interesting because I wouldn't have thought it, but one of the main reasons people go out and what they're looking for when they visit other places is to shop, which I thought was interesting. I mean, that's of course what me as a girl would go do, but when you break all of this down and look at what people were going to do, they were shopping. But as we get into the report, you'll see why too, why the people that filled it out. And I'm not going to read it all to you, but people are shopping. They're looking for historic sites to visit, and then they're looking for events, and they're looking for outdoor activities. Those are the main things, and this tells you where in our area, and this changes with each region, where are people coming from. Our most visitors come from Nashville, so from the Nashville area. That's where they have traveled up from. And then the second most have come from the Louisville area. So that tells you right there, they have traveled I-65. And then it goes from Lexington, Evansville, Bowling Green, Paducah, Cincinnati. And the report actually breaks it down even farther, but those are the main origins of their trip here. And that's a day trip, which makes sense because they can drive that in a few hours or less than an hour. And then it goes on, the report will tell you that mostly it's more women than men that have filled out this report and more women that travel. So that's probably girl trips for the day of ladies going looking for places to shop, places to eat, things to do, and families. So let me see what else I wanted to show you guys. It also breaks it down to the size of the households. Usually a 2-member or a 3-member household are the most that travel, and that's pretty much what I wanted to show you guys as far as who comes here. I just thought it was interesting that they broke down who travels here and asked them. Now with 2020, they're concentrating more on day trips. The reports also show how do you find your information to travel. You know, how do you decide where you're going to go? And the majority of the people, more than half, it was 60-something%, look on the internet. So that's how times have changed. That wasn't always that way. I know now everybody has a cell phone, you have access to the internet, and so you're probably, I don't know what you guys do when you travel, but when we're traveling with my husband, I'm looking on the phone, okay, this is where we need to stop, this is where we need to stop to, you know, to go to the bathroom, or to grab a Coke, or to grab a coffee, or maybe to have lunch. So I'm looking for the next stop, and it's in my hand on my phone, or on the car on the GPS. So with that being said, you might look up restaurants in the area. So everything is digital now. So what I've been concentrating on at tourism is trying to increase our presence online for Simpson County. Facebook, Instagram, they even ask these travelers, what part of the internet are you looking at? And do you guys, the influencers are people online that sponsor a brand, or people that influence people to look at something. So they even asked them if they looked at influencers. So the idea of trying to get your brand, which our product is Simpson County, out there. So that is what I have been working on our website. We're going to do a redesign for that, and trying to get more of a presence out there online. So I am open to any ideas that anybody has. The good thing about the internet is, as far as the cost, it is, you can pay for advertising, but the internet is awesome as far as cost, because a lot of that is free. You can advertise free, and advertising is not cheap in general, so we'll do as much online advertising as we can. Having a good, solid website is vital, and that is what we are in the process of doing right now. But if you guys have any questions about any of what I'm doing or what I'm trying to do,
when they looked at the social media sites that people are looking at, which one was the most viewed?
Facebook. But I think Facebook, because of the age of the travelers. So the age of and they broke it down by the age of the travelers. The younger travelers were more, everybody across the board was looking at shopping, which we have a lot of shopping to offer now here in Simpson County. And then it changed from breweries. The second and the third and the fourth choices were breweries and restaurants and outdoor activities. There were a lot of outdoor activities. And then as you got into the older age groups, it was more looking for historical sites and restaurants, antique malls. It kind of did a real flip over. But Facebook for the older ones, Instagram, Twitter, it went down that.
Do you know what is the cost if you wanted to like sponsor an ad on Facebook? Have
You can
looked
spend
it up?
we have been doing that, and you can spend as much money as you want to. So
But I mean, but compared to other advertising methods, is it pretty cost effective?
yes.
You can even target
Yeah.
certain groups. There's all kinds of things.
There's all kinds of things. Yeah, you can target a certain age group, you can target I-65. One of the things I did during Christmas, I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but we did because of COVID, there's a lot of things you couldn't do, but one thing you could do was ride around in your car with your family and go look at lights. So I did a tour of lights, people that had light decorations, and where could you go and jump in the car with your family, and I just asked people on Facebook, who has pretty decorations? What's pretty to go see in Simpson County? So I made a map, a Google map, and put it on Facebook and let people just tell me where to go. And we put that on there, and I paid like $25 and boosted that post. And then people could get online and see where to drive and take their family to see the lights. But I could target the audience that I wanted to share that with. I also made a video of the pretty lights and what we had in our downtown area. And last year for the Kentucky Tourism Guide to Kentucky, J.D. Shelburne, who's been at several of our concerts downtown, he was on the cover of the Kentucky Tourism Guide. So I called JD and said, can I use one of your songs, because you have to be very careful what kind of music you use on Facebook and on Instagram, because you can't just use music because it's copyrighted. But if you have permission from a musician, you can use it. So I used one of his Christmas songs, tied it to our video, and put it on Facebook. But then he shared it, and when he shared it, it had 50,000 likes, which means it went out there to everybody. And that was free. It cost Simpson County nothing because it just shot out there because he had the following that made it be seen. So those are the kinds of things that if we can continue to figure out ways to do that. And I'm learning too. I'm learning a lot about that. I know how to, trying to get it past the Simpson County people that we know and to the other people, and the more people that will share it outside of our circle. The good thing is that there are a lot of people moving in here that will share it with their people from wherever it is they came from to help us get the word outside of Simpson County. So, do you have any other?
Now, I know you're not with Renaissance anymore, but what about the concerts on the square? What's the plans on that, and the car show this fall, and things of that nature?
Well, I've moved to the tourism office from the cabin into town, back into the Goodnight House, so that I could work more closely with the Chamber, with Renaissance, with the Arts Council, with some of the groups that I've worked with in the past, because I felt like we needed to be in one space, closer together, so that we could work on those projects a little closer. I have been working with Kim since she, took my place at Renaissance, and I don't want to steal her thunder, but I think that there are plans for this summer for
And I can
some
tell you,
events.
Marty, I don't think Kim will mind me sharing this. She called and asked me, and I told her, I said, Kim, if we could play football and high school basketball, I don't see any reason we can't have a concert outside come
Well, I just seen on the news this morning that, I think it was University of Alabama is saying they're having full capacity games this fall. They're already planning to do that. So, I think you were talking about tourism and having things, people to come and outdoor activities. There's a lot of people like those concerts on the square, and there's a lot of people.
We are planning to do the
And
concerts.
I know the car show is planning to go forward come August.
It's great to hear. I'm glad everything's going to get back.
There are several groups too planning.
I believe there's 6 bands.
You're right, 6 bands. There's 6 bands. I hate to do it too, I hate to tell. But yeah,
We don't even
there's
need to
6
know who they are
bands.
or the dates. All I wanted to know is if there were plans
There are
to
plans.
do that.
And I'm working with Kim. tourism and Renaissance and the gallery on the square are working together. I think the Arts Council might come in with us. We are doing another special event the end of August.
I was gonna ask you, can you give us a hint to any big special tourism event?
It will bring a different audience here, a different crowd of people that we haven't had before. It's a music event. It'll be downtown. It'll be free. This year it'll be free. We are going to start it slow because of COVID, and then hopefully it'll be a ticketed event next year. A little bit more geared toward. It'll be a music event.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to tell you. For right now, let us get more details worked out. But yes, we
You
will
know,
be.
things like the homecoming parade, Christmas parade, that kind of stuff, we really need to get that back in the community, because there's a lot of people that really enjoy it.
I think everything will come back slowly.
I'm looking forward to that kind of stuff coming back.
We did try to do the Cherry Blossom Festival, which is usually in April, but our problem was that the artists themselves did not feel comfortable. They felt like it was too soon. The artists felt like it was too soon to come. So I think once the vaccine is a little bit more spread, then, and so maybe, we feel like by June, people will feel more comfortable with coming out. We couldn't ask those artists to come and, if they don't feel comfortable, they're not going to come, so. But maybe by June, we feel like by then, things will be more.
I think, excuse me, I think by then everything will be a lot better.
I think so too.
Man, we're getting about 3 times as many vaccinations or vaccines into the state now than we were at the beginning.
Yeah, I know my age group, I'm not able to get vaccinated yet, but maybe surely by the end of April, hopefully, that age will, so. But
Any other questions for Amy?
Good job.
thank you, and thank you, Myron serves on the tourism committee and does a great job, and I appreciate all of his input. He's very helpful, and I call him and ask him questions too, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to go a little bit out of order here because our road supervisor or public works supervisor has an appointment he's got to be at, and we have a topic in his report that we need to take up and probably have some action on.
Thank you, Judge. There's actually 2 things I may address since I'm here. One is just, I know everybody's aware of this, but just to thank especially the farmers 2 weeks ago with the snow and ice. Marty, you had a couple of tractors out, and Myron had out for a day or 2. So there were a lot of people that did a lot of work to help us, and they worked with our drivers. And, we couldn't have gotten through what we did if they hadn't. So I really appreciate the help that the community does. And I hope people understand that there's a lot goes on besides just dropping a plow on one road and trying to take care of things. It's not near that easy.
I want to make a comment on that. I work with folks from different counties, and I had a guy stop me and say, "Do you have anything to do with roads?" And I'm like, "Oh, this may not be good," but it was good. And they just said, "You guys did a great job on the roads, and y'all give classes." I ain't gonna say what county.
Well, I'll even say that I think the state and the city, everybody, I think, this round did really well. I think they all did good, so I appreciate the help the people gave us. The issue I want to bring up, though, out in the East District on Hack Brown Road, how many of you know, but there was some land sold that was divided up into 5 or 6 parcels, and they started building on those parcels. And there's a gentleman out there that has already put a driveway in and has his footer poured, and the property next to him, we put a driveway tile in. Well, while we did that, we went ahead and ditched the road. We replaced a 15-inch stopped-up tile with an 18-inch tile, and by doing all this, we have actually diverted a little bit more water on this Mr. Norton's property. But not only by that, we've actually sped up how fast the water gets to him. And it's caused him some issues that are off the right-of-way, that are actually on his property, in his driveway that he's already cut in.
And he's very nice, reasonable fellow, no problem at all, but he's asked if he was to buy a tile, if we would do a little bit of work to get the water from our drainage to him. And while I know we have to be really careful about getting on private property, and I know I've addressed them yesterday, have to address one today, you all have addressed them here this week with all the rain. There's a difference between trying to solve somebody's problem that's been there for 10, 20 years and a new problem that we maybe not created, but we sure have contributed to it. So I would like for the court to give me the okay to go ahead and do just a little bit of work. It's not a major job. It'd be putting a tile in, which he'll furnish.
And I told Bobby when he asked me about it, guys, I said, look, if we're doing our work in our right of ways of ditching and all that, and we do that work, and we do create a problem on someone's property, I feel like we have an obligation to try to take care of it.
I agree, but I'm going to ask Sam, do we need to have something signed by the landowner? Just, I don't know if we need any kind of,
I have a consent form that I use sometimes, like when I do construction work.
Just sign a consent form, so just out of an abundance of caution.
and that road there that you're talking about is one of the roads that we might not be able to do all of it, but we need to be looking at the part, the end that's got the most houses on it to try to widen that out a couple feet or whatever, because the problem is the road is probably suitable for 5 or 6 houses, and it's probably, it'll end up with
And we've done a little bit of work
on it, so.
building up some shoulders in places already because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, I want everybody in the public to understand, we can't do this everywhere, but this is a place I feel like we contributed to part of the problem, so.
And of course, we'll have a vote here in a minute, because I do think we need to authorize this by action of the court. But I feel like any time that our road crews are doing their work in our right-of-ways, that we create a problem on someone's property, I feel like we do have an obligation to try to help that out.
Make reasonable efforts to try to help them out.
And this guy completely understood why we did what we did up the road. He's not complaining by any means, very reasonable, but he just,
He would like it addressed.
to me, I think it's the right thing to do, so. But
Well, we need to address these as needed because I've got several calls just in the last day or two. A water problem that has been existing for 10, 15 years, but some people they're very adamant about getting things resolved, and some of it is due to the development of subdivision, the way it was developed. But we do need to be careful on how we approach these things as needed only,
Well, I will tell you, all of you all, if somebody calls me about an issue, and I've had a few calls in the last couple of weeks, I always say, I'll pass this along to Bobby and let him look at it, because I am by no means a road engineer. And I don't, if it's in his opinion that it needs to be fixed, or he can say what needs to be done, I'm fine with it. But I do not go tell anybody, we'll do this or we'll do that, or, I had one call about a tile in his drive, and I simply told him, I said, I'll call Bobby, and then after he went and looked at it, he decided, the county needs to put a tile in there. So, but I do not, I don't tell anybody in my district that I can get anything taken care of. I just tell them that I will talk to Bobby, and he has the best plan for when it comes to the roads and stuff. But if nobody else has anything, I'll make the motion to allow at Bobby's discretion to fix this issue with the landowner signing the consent form.
All right, so Marty's got the motion. Scott second. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor, aye.
I don't know, is that the right way to word it, Bobby? That you give the road department permission to correct the problem on, I don't know if you want to put the guy's name on there, or
I don't know the address.
If you want to stick that in.
on the property, but we're requiring that the landowner sign a consent form with the Public Works Department.
It's Norton property, but I don't know the address.
I've got it, I just don't have it with me.
Okay, that's not a problem. I just wanted to be sure.
Good. Any other question or discussion?
but you,
Yeah, right. All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? This is a horrible day to have this. All right. Nick. Hang on. I've got one, Myron. I appreciate that. Next is to review. Scott, will you read them?
Next review, approved minutes, February 17th, special call for support meeting.
If there's no question or discussion, we need a motion and a second to approve those minutes.
second.
Got a motion by Myron and a second by Nate. Yeah, no question, all in favor, aye? Aye. I'm gonna get down there and talk out of my stomach down there.
Base thing.
Yeah, all right. Next, gentlemen, is to review and approve the second reading of the fiscal year 2021 budget amendment number 8, ordinance number 220.224. This is to take care of the occupational tax money, the $285,700.
So moved.
Motion by Marty, second by Scott. Any question or discussion? Pam, we'll do a roll call.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Scott Poston, Nathaniel Downey,
Yes.
Myron Thurman,
Yes.
Mason Barnes,
Yes. All right, next, gentlemen, is to review and approve the reading and final passage of ordinance number 220.225, addressing jail inmate fees that would be effective July 1 of 2021.
Motion made.
A motion by Nate, second by Myron. Any question or discussion?
Nathaniel Downey,
Yes.
Myron Thurman,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Mason Barnes,
Yes. Next is the second reading and final passage of ordinance number 230.29, and this is in addition to the administrative code that discusses county personnel meeting attendance.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty.
Second.
Second by Nate. Any question or discussion? Pam?
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Nathaniel Downey,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Myron Thurman,
No.
Mason Barnes,
Yes. All right, next, gentlemen, and I may get Nicole to talk about this just because she can talk and I can't, but honestly, I may get you to come to the microphone and explain what this resolution is. Please? I asked you, you can sit there, but this is a resolution. We have an opportunity to apply for a grant. I'll try to get it out, Nicole. We have an opportunity to apply for a grant that will help us cover lost revenue to utility companies of Simpson County residents. We've sent information out to all the utility providers. We've heard back, I think, from EPB and from others. But it will cover, I think it will cover up to $200,000. But we've got to have a resolution of the court with the judge's signature to be able to apply for the grant. We gain no money. It costs us nothing to do it. We gain no money. It's just, if we're able to get the grant, we can help recover some of the lost revenue because of COVID. Because, you know, the governor had this whole deal where you didn't have to pay your utility bill. Well, now some of these utilities are having to write off tens of thousands of dollars, and so.
And did you say we'll be using community action will be involved?
Yeah, community action will actually be the conduit that will,
That will work with these residents
and
and the utility companies too.
See, I knew you needed to talk.
So they don't have to prove that they have lost revenue.
Yes.
I know some people right now that have told me that they had their water cut off during this, and they had to pay additional reconnect fees and you know, they didn't have the money to do it, but they ended up getting money, then they had to pay an additional reconnect fee and had to pay penalties and things.
Yeah,
Which I understand if you have a bill, you're supposed to pay it, but sometimes it happens where you can't do it. But, then you hear them saying that they're not supposed to cut it off. I don't know what the situation is.
well, I think we have gotten back to where they can do the cutoff, but there's still thousands and thousands of dollars of lost revenue.
And there's certain specifications and requirements that these residents will have to provide in order to comply and go with all of this. But right now, we're just gathering all the funding from these utility companies because the Brad will have to know that in order to establish, I'm assuming, our total funding on what Simpson County would be able to get. And this is for Simpson County residents only.
Yeah.
So.
And like when I said with the EPB, that is just, for our part, it's just EPB customers who actually live outside the city limits. I mean, if the city of Franklin wants to participate in this grant for, EPB customers or Franklin Municipal Utility, they'll have to do that grant themselves for city residents.
Is Warren included in this?
Yes. You talked to, yeah. Warren
Yes, we've requested information from Warren, EPB, Atlas, and Simpson County Water District.
So, I guess my other question is, if somebody is, we're behind, are they going to take an individual accounts off? Is that what they're doing
I guess that's a better way to explain
it's
it.
actually benefiting the citizens, not benefiting
Yes, it
the
will come off an individual's account.
Okay.
The individual's not getting the money. It will go straight to the utility program.
On
And I
behalf-
believe it's
On behalf of that individual.
It's $225 a month, I believe.
Up to 6
Up to
months.
6, yeah. And it has to be consecutive months.
So it is benefiting the
It's actually,
individuals. It's not just money handed over to the...
Exactly.
Right,
Okay.
that's right.
I wanted to be clear
Yeah,
with that.
yeah. It will go straight to the utility.
Motion, yeah.
Did you make a motion to authorize the judge to sign the resolution? And you second. Any other question or discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I promise y'all, I don't feel anywhere near like I sound. I feel fine. I just sound horrible. Nothing I can do about it. All right, gentlemen, if y'all had the opportunity to review the budget transfers, we need a motion and a second to approve those transfers.
Motion made.
Motion by Nate, second by Marty. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Next is a cash transfer of $120,702 from the general fund to the jail fund. This is not funny.
You need to go see a doctor.
I have been to the doctor, and I'm good. I just can't.
Sound like you put you out of your misery.
Yeah. Thankfully, I don't feel that way. Now, after we take into account the small bond payment and the control room money on what we currently have budgeted for transfer in, would be $51,873.02. So this is an additional $68,828.98 that is not budgeted in the budget. Now,
So the remainder,
we may not have to transfer the entire amount. We will have to transfer enough immediately to cover the claims that we just approved and utility bills. And we will have to have the remainder of it to cover the March 12th payroll if the Class D money doesn't show up prior to March 12th.
And when do we estimate that? Class D.
Stephen? Do you all? How much do you all anticipate the Class D money for?
No, I mean, when we anticipating receiving those funds?
You all received your reconciliation? Well, we received it on the 8th last month.
Come on, water last
And I told Scott this morning, I mean, to my understanding, the way it goes is, I mean, they get their paperwork done as soon as possible, and it goes to the state, and we kind of go in a queue. I mean, as far as when you get it, it gets paid out. So, of course, I know Chad will get a reconciliation about 3 days prior to it being deposited into the account, and I will get an email 2 days prior to being in the account, and that's about all the notice that we're going to get. We cannot call the state. I mean, they do not want to be bothered. They've stated that directly. Oh, yeah. I mean,
You asked the question.
Now, I heard the judge say, that we need like a minimum amount of money to transfer as for today. What's that number that we would need?
Scott was in my office earlier this morning, and I mean, we ran it with the claims. It's going to be about $23,000 short to get through claims for today. And I mean, the utility bills that are upcoming is water bill, electric bill, the higher ones. So I mean, that's going to be a little over $17,000, and I just like to keep that $5,000 balance in the account. I don't really like to get any lower than that. So with all that accounted for, it was about $45,500 to $46,000. So $45,500 at the least.
So, and the problem would be, we could authorize a transfer of the 51 that's left, but we may have to come back and have a special call meeting to transfer money for payroll.
If we do not get that, yes.
If we don't get the,
And we would actually need it in the account by the 11th.
yeah, right. We're in a bad situation here because, none of us like the fact that we're having to transfer in more than was budgeted. Obviously, we did lose some revenue, but, and Sheriff, Jailer, we've talked about this. I think there could have been more cuts made. I think there's gonna have to be. We can't go through, we're gonna have to go through April, May, June, 3 more months of this fiscal year, and we can't do this the next fiscal year. We can't put this much more money into the jail, not in another fiscal year. And we're obligated to pay these bills, we're obligated to pay payroll.
Wow, we're 2/3 of the way through the year, and you're out of money. And I told you in August of last year, you were over budget on personnel, and asked you to make corrections then. You still got 35 in there today.
No, I don't, Mark.
That's the number that I was just given to you. That's the number that was just given.
Did you fire?
You said, I want you to make 4 more cuts. I cut 1. You get me to where it's dangerous. I'm just telling you.
You're welcome to come to the microphone. You just got that this morning, didn't you?
Yeah, Michelle, just give it.
Just
Like the report me.
I like to see them because someone didn't pay that commissary. That's
I
not
simply
going.
asked how many full-time were there.
No, you told me that I had 35. I've got 33,
34 is what's on this list right here.
including me.
I don't think so. I don't think
I don't
that
think
list
it
includes the jailer.
We've been in a discrepancy over 2 for a while, and I don't know where it's at. We can sit down one-on-one and look at it. I don't have a problem with that. If I'm wrong, I'll
tell you I'm wrong. I do not have a problem with that. But I made another cut that you asked me to. You asked me, it wasn't last meeting, it was the meeting before last. You said, I want 4 cut by Monday. I think that's what you said, your exact words. I did cut 1. I'm getting to the point to where it's dangerous. Now, if you don't care if it's dangerous and you don't care the liability on those people, that's fine. I'm at a spot.
Eric, it's not that.
I'm not trying to make it like that, but that's the way I feel, and that's the way it is.
You had an employee leave in August.
Huh?
You had an employee leave in August, and you took that salary and divided it amongst everybody and give them a bigger raise than what this court approved. That's mismanaging the funds, Eric.
No, we went at 2%, didn't we?
We approved 1%, and it went for more than that. But instead of taking that employee salary and holding it back, you took it upon yourself to divide it amongst the employees and give them a bigger raise than what the court approved. That kind of stuff has been going on, and it has to stop.
You approved most of them. I've talked to you directly.
No, you didn't talk to me about that, because I wouldn't have approved it, and I didn't even...
Maybe not this last one.
I didn't even approve this budget, Eric.
I know you didn't.
Because there was too much for payroll in it, and that's the reason I said it. But, I mean, and then I was told last week you called and got a PO number, and they turned the bill in for way more than the PO number, so you're not even following the...
I don't know. Whoa, hold up.
Or Chad did. But you should be doing it.
Wait just a second before you throw.
What
You called and got a PO for $160, she turned in a bill for $380.
The invoice was sent to her. I told her to pay the $162, and we paid.
After they told you to bring the checks in the commissary. I know.
So it wasn't anything malicious there.
That was talked about with me and Mason directly, and what you're not understanding is...
But the bill come to us for the full amount.
Right, and we said we would cover the above and beyond. That's what you asked, so that's what we did. Now, what you don't know is, we have been replacing this part numerous times. We've already paid for this part 10 times probably, because I can't go to the bathroom with every inmate that works in the kitchen. And that's where it's getting broke.
Did you tell the finance officer that if you had to continue doing that kind of thing, it would deplete that commissary account quickly?
If we continue to do everything above and beyond, that commissary account will start breaking.
Well, maybe we need to quit doing Super Bowl parties. Super Bowl parties.
I see where this is going. I'm going to tell you again, that money is for the inmates, and that's what it's for. I'm not going to overstep the auditor. I'm not going to overstep anybody else. When I'm told, I'm not going to overstep DOC. If you want to,
Well,
you do.
I don't like to hear, and we're not going to have it, when I get done saying what I fix say, you're going to go sit down, because we're not going to talk anymore.
You're not going to talk to me like that. I will leave the courtroom.
We'll leave.
No, I'd like to ask a question, Eric.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we've got a situation with this budget. I'd like to ask the jailer, what's your plan of action on how we're going to finish out the rest of this year?
Myron, I don't know what else to say. I've cut. If I let 70 state inmates go from the center, that cuts 5 jobs, or maybe 6. But that's your revenue that offsets the counties that are coming in. So it's going to be worse. That's what I'm trying to explain. And I can't, I'm already taking every measure. I'm even doing some things that Sam don't really care for by doing outside incarceration to alleviate the problem. I'm trying.
I want you to know this. No one on this court is asking you to do anything illegal or inappropriate.
I can't let those funds go.
Listen. What we are asking is offsetting the cost of things like this flush valve and other things. That we prioritize that over Super Bowl parties or 4th meal a day for the inmates or the other things like that. Prioritize the things that can be prioritized.
And they have been. And I've got the money for stuff like that that's over and beyond. You have not seen me complain You have not seen me stand up against you over going above and beyond and using that money. You haven't seen that. You cannot say that I have. I don't have a problem with it. I do not have a problem with it. But there are certain things that I can use that money for, and there are certain things that I can't. And it's designed for certain things. I know you said the Super Bowl party, we bought them pizzas. That's what it's for. It's their money. It's not the county's money. I've told you, if we can find a loop and we can do it, I'll do it. I don't have a problem with that. I don't benefit from it. I don't care. I will give it to you, but I'm not going to give it to you if it's going to get me on the chopping block. And that's why I've made calls. Every time you have asked me to do something, I have made calls to the auditor's office to make sure I could do it. And if they say no, that'd be between y'all and them.
Well, we're in a financial situation that we can't sustain.
I know that. And you know, this don't make it any better, but every county in the state's the same way. And I'm going to say this again, we're in a good situation for bad situation.
Every county's not in this shape. We got one right up the road that's doing just fine.
Eric, are there?
I hope you save Hart County, and then I hope you check on them next year, because they have figured out that they can't do what they're doing. And you will see that next year. You're going to see it. They already know it.
Can we reach out to other counties? There are, I don't know how many, but there are counties in the state that has other counties to house their inmates.
Yes, sir.
And can we reach out to these counties? I guess you probably got access to that information.
Yes, sir.
That might pay more money than $31, $34 a day or $35 a day.
Myron, I don't mind doing that. And I've told Mason this. Marty, I'll tell all y'all. I don't mind doing that. Here's the only thing. When you start cutting our state inmates, which we're getting, I guarantee you, well, I think it's guaranteed. We have a date that we were just talking about when the money comes in. If we do that, if we give up that, and we go to other counties to house their inmates at a higher price, this is the one thing I do not want to do. When that check, and Mason, you've done it on Adair County, and it's okay, because you're wondering when it's going to be here. But I don't want to have to stand up here every single meeting, and y'all go, where's the money from Warren County? I'm just using examples. Where's the money from Warren County? Where's the money from Adair?
If we go the route that we contract with other counties, I intend the next time around that myself and that county judge do some communicating before we sign any contracts again.
That's fine.
And, I mean, we do have contracts in place and stuff like that. I mean, it matters. I mean, it not only matters for the jail fund, but that money that comes in monthly, I mean, it matters to certain things in our general fund. So, yes, I mean, we do have to count on that, especially that monthly money that we're expecting each month to come.
That's what I'm saying. If we do that, if we can find some people that will do that, which I don't know if we can, but if we can, I don't want to stand up here and have to answer for, another county where their check's at. That'd be between y'all and them.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't have a problem with that. And I'll put it out, I'll tell you what, as soon as I walk out this door, I've got an app that goes to all the jailers. I'll put it out there.
The only reason I'm asking, I don't want to get in a situation that we'll use Adair County.
Mm-hmm.
Those inmates could be costing us more money. I don't know that for a fact, but it may cost, we may not be netting any money off of this. So that's the reason why I was asking if we could reach out. Hey, like Adair County, I mean, I'm just assuming they said they'd pay $35 a day.
Well, I'll tell you this. The Adair County inmates that we're getting are a headache.
Then maybe we need to, you know how many today we got, just roughly?
Yeah, it's just 3 or 4 right now.
Well, we just got a 30-day contract with Adair County. Is that kind of?
Yeah, it's a 30-day open end.
Written contract. If they're causing problems and we're not netting any money, I don't know why we have it here.
In my experience, most of the time, when folks send out their inmates to other jails, unless they don't have a jail of their own, they usually farm out headaches. That just goes with the territory. That's just my limited experience in the matter.
I did talk to a Dare County magistrate last week, and they're talking about closing the jail down. That's just what was told to me last week, from a magistrate.
They're full, they're jam-packed full of county.
So, you know, I would like to tell them what we're going to charge, rather than those people tell us what they're going to pay.
Yeah, but if it costs $55 a day to have the jail open, it makes no sense to charge $35.
Correct. So,
If you want me to tell you something, I will, just to keep in the back of your mind. You know, we talked about sending, or you talked to the judge over in Christian County. We talked about numbers here and talked about numbers there, and one thing we didn't talk about was the total emissions, and this is something you need to know. This is not a pitch, this is just something to keep in the back of your mind. The total emissions in the last 12 months by arrest. So if somebody's arrested, they come in, if you took them to Christian County, that's 3134 right then. Whether they get out or not, you're going to pay that day. In the past 12 months, there are 775 total emissions by arrest. That's
Here? Here?
That's guaranteed money. That's guaranteed you're going to pay.
And that's under COVID, where they're not arresting people if they can easily help it.
And there was one other thing I wanted you to take into account. And I can give you copies of these if y'all want to study them, it's fine. In 2019, we had 8 hospital admissions. That's where they're staying overnight. That's where, if you've got them in another facility, the county's paying the bill. We had 44 emergency visits, which the county would be on the hook on. In 2020, we had 10 admissions. That's where inmates went and stayed in the hospital. And 23 ER visits. These numbers are getting really expensive really quick if we did this on the county. I mean, astronomical. So I want you to know, and
Can you provide us with?
I'll give you anything I
Well,
got.
no, what I'd like to have is a complete list of every full-time employee, what their rank, or however y'all do that, whether they're captains or majors.
We've sent that over before, several times.
I would like one that is accurate to today. To today.
To this, okay.
What everyone's rank is.
That's no problem.
And what their hourly rate is.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
And Marty, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just
That don't include you. 34 doesn't include you.
Can I ask you if one person's on there?
You can look at it. That was what was handed to me last week. Okay, so it's 33, was she?
Because that's a commissary employee.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine.
All right.
I know, we've argued about this. Me and you argued about it. I don't know where it was, but I see it right now.
If you can get that list to me, I'd like to have that.
Yes, sir. I get it.
Gentlemen, we're at the point that we got to figure out what we're going to do here. I guess the bad spot that we're in is we're obligated to pay the bills and claims. We're obligated to pay the salary, the payroll. I mean, I wouldn't ask a person to work and not pay them. And Nate mentioned that we could transfer the 51,000 a day. We can do that if that's the wish of the court. If we don't get the Class D money on the books by the 11th, we'll be back here that Thursday afternoon in a special call meeting to transfer more money to cover the payroll. And I mean, out of this 120,000, Nicole could just transfer the 45, and then we'll see what happens with the Class D money. But the remainder of that money will always be sitting there, able to be transferred if we've approved it.
That would probably make a lot more sense, you know, because in that sense, that would keep us from coming back in for a special call meeting, say, afterwards, if we did it that way.
And I know every time we say this, Eric, you think everybody's picking on you, but nobody's picking on you. It's just, this is going to be an ongoing thing through the remainder of this fiscal year, and it's something that we absolutely have to work to avoid in the next fiscal year. So, if we're going to pay bills and claims, which we have to take up next, I'll need some kind of motion on some kind of an amount.
Part of this is not going to change. I mean, we could split it up today, but most of it, we're going to be right back up. I don't really have a problem with that, but the only thing that I'd like to say clearly is that we will not have a budget. Next year's budget will not be like this one, period. And in your defense, you have no control of state inmates. I get that. But we've got to take control of a $1.1 million shortfall revenue. That's what we have to do, and we're going to do that. But I want to make it clear, these shortfalls we're having today, the buck of it is not your control. But we cannot. Everybody in this room are taxpayers, and I think you would agree, we got to get some kind of handle. Because we don't know what's in front of us. I don't think COVID's going to die, in my opinion. I think we're going to experience this all the next fiscal year, if you just want my opinion.
I think we'll have this.
Until the county judge executives and the magistrates and the jailers, it'll affect the sheriff too eventually. Until we all stand up together and keep safe and passing the buck to the counties, we're going to be in this situation.
I agree.
I mean, we're going to continue in this situation.
I've talked to our representative. Yeah, I mean, it's 31, 34 a day for 16 years. That's ridiculous. And, you know, and on top of all of this, you hear these things, not to say they're going to happen, but probably some of it's going to happen, that the state is determined by the population of the jail. They're going to start closing jails. And they're going to force us to go to regional jails. And then we're going to be at the mercy of whatever they say they want us to pay.
You're absolutely right, unless we're a regional judge. And I'll tell you, it's going to be Allen County, it's going to be Love County, it's going to be Butler, and Simpson. There's going to be your ones that's going to be in the region. And whoever gets to it first, guess what?
Well,
They got control. The other ones are going to get first.
we've got more bids. We've got more bids than the ones you mentioned. But what I'm saying is, you're right. Everything keeps pushing back down to the local level. And we can't abstain. I mean, you know, we're responsible for the whole county. You're the jail's budget, but we're responsible for the whole budget. And we just got to we've got to make some leaps and bounds. We're going to have to do something to make sure that the best of our ability, we do not allow this to happen in the next fiscal year.
So Judge, so you need a number then, right?
We'll need a motion and a number. What the county treasurer is saying is 12702.
So if we do that, and the Class D money comes in, we don't have to use that money. Other than the 45.
And the bottom line will be, even if the Class D money does come in, then we turn around into the payroll of the 26, the remaining 60 or 70, whatever thousand, will eventually be transferred.
Right.
Well, there's no more money, so it's going to have to eventually be transferred in. Right?
If we don't have a major turnaround or something, yeah, it's just, I mean, that's what we're gonna ride this fiscal year out.
I see no reason to have to come back next week. Myself. It's not going to get any better in a week.
Well, I'll agree, I'll agree with Myron and Marty both. It's not the jail or the jailer's fault that the Class D inmates have dropped, but I think there are some management issues that need to be addressed. So I'll agree with both of you guys.
I don't have a problem with the 120 grand transferring, but I would like to know when that Class D money comes in.
You're not making it, I'll make it.
Scott, you got the motion?
Yes, sir.
On the 12702. We'd have to have a second.
Second.
Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. I'm going to vote aye because we have to cover these bills, but I don't like the situation we're in.
I'm voting no.
Okay. So the motion will carry 4-1. Marty, you're welcome to explain if you want to explain.
I think I did when I
Okay.
was talking.
Next, gentlemen, is the bills and claims. If you had an opportunity to review those, we just need a motion and a second to approve those claims.
So voted, Mason.
Motion by Myron.
Second.
Second by Nate. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, reports. Let me hand you guys this. This is just a report that was emailed from the animal shelter. It just talks about activity for 2020. At the shelter, they took in 234 dogs, 689 cats. They had to euthanize 16 dogs, 6 because of health, 10 behavior, and euthanized 55 cats, 48 of them for health reasons. So if you're looking for a nice pet, go to the animal shelter and adopt. I got a couple more things if I can get it all out. We had a I-65 feasibility Zoom meeting yesterday. You know, the state is looking at adding another I-65 interchange. One of the locations, which would be our preference, is Highway 240. And so in the scoring process, Highway 240 has scored the highest. So that carries some weight going forward. But there's going to be a virtual town hall beginning on March the 16th. And I'll get you the information to that town hall, and I'll put it out to the public so they can see it once they release the information on how to get to the town hall. But if you can talk with our state senator, state representative, we need to be lobbying them for the for the Highway 240 interchange. It would help us a lot on the North Industrial Park and the growth on the north end of the county. So that's where that's at. Here's a map I'll let y'all look at. Golly. I talked to this guy from Charter Communications last week, and this is a map that shows the coverage area that Charter will be doing fiber internet in Simpson County. And they are committed to actually do wired fiber to the home. So that if y'all want to take a look at that map, or I can make you a copy of it if you want to see it, but it's good news that now we've got EPB with Warren World, we've got Charter, we got Fastnet, all now working to get wired fiber countywide. So it's going to take some time. Everyone's going to have to be patient. I mean, if they started today, a complete build out would be 3 years at least, but at least we're making some progress. All right. Myron, you got anything?
All I'd like to say is, I'd like to thank our Public Works for the hard work they've done through this downpour rain we've had, and I would like to ask the citizens to just bear with. I know we've had a lot of roads, driveways we want to wash out. They'll get to you, but just be patient.
Scott?
We had a Renaissance meeting last week, and there are activities in the work. As Amy said, I'm not going to try to steal Kenny thunder, but there are some stuff going, and hopefully, if everything continues to die down with this COVID, we'll maybe see some.
It might not be a good choice of word.
Subside.
But anyway, there are some stuff going on, so hopefully we'll get to see some of that this year.
Very good. Nate?
No report this week. Now, the Parks and Rec Board, we do have a meeting next week. So whatever information is put out there or that's discussed, I will share it with the community for our next meeting here.
Mark?
Seen some complaints, I don't know if you all have talking about the litter on the roads, coming out, a lot of it comes out of trash trucks. I know Mason commented on it, and I think it's a good idea. Encourage everybody to bag their trash and put it in, because if you put it in a leach, it will blow out, and of course they had a leak there that they didn't pick up in residential, so it's an issue, but I also encourage you, if you know people that's got their name on that adopt a highway sign, to encourage them to clean up what they've adopted.
Get up there and take care of their adoption.
While they've done it,
Take care of their child.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could, I think there is a litter ordinance in the county, but you gotta enforce that, and then you got people going to court, and it would take.
There's a charge called criminal littering, and I see them every now and then in court. That's usually, it's pretty blatant.
Well, I had one a few years ago, they threw out like 20 bags of trash on one of the roads, and I found their name and address, and we got that, they come back and picked all their trash up, but they went down a little cut through the road, and they just throwing it off on both sides, but they come back and got their trash. But, I'll just encourage people, don't throw stuff out your vehicle windows. You stop at a gas station, pretty regular, fill up with gas, throw it in the trash can when you stop, fill up with gas or whatever, so. Trying to keep our county as clean as possible.
Yeah. Counselor?
I haven't said much recently, but I am going to mention property taxes, because I haven't done it in a while. It is beginning of March. They're late now, but they're not delinquent until after April 15th. Got about 6 weeks. Once they're delinquent, you can't pay the sheriff's office anymore. You have to go to the clerk's office, and they add even more fees and expenses. me, I'm asking, please, 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 if at all possible, pay property taxes, ad valorem taxes, as soon as you can, especially before they become delinquent next month.
Sheriff?
No report.
Bill? Bobby's already gone. Chief, fire chief? I know, Chief, as you come up, I know with the flooding, I think your guys responded to some water rescue calls, so appreciate what you guys are doing.
Yeah, that's great. That's kind of all here. I know a lot of time you guys will on feedback on certain things, like the purposes and all that. Yes.
Hey, we did get called out for, I think it was 5 ultimately calls. 2 of those incidents, while we were there, we got paged out to another. So we actually, 2 different times, we had 2 things going at once. So what ultimately got it started was we had a vehicle that was off the road on Andrews out there in that area where that bad curve where it floods, and got caught up on the backside of some trees. But the reason I wanted to bring that forth was just to say, a couple years ago when we asked for funding for rescue stuff to purchase a boat, and I just wanted to thank you guys for approving that equipment. And again, this is where that equipment was used. It was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, if that had happened, it would have been a very different scenario. One, those folks, they were sure enough distressed. They were not able to self-rescue, and had they tried to self-rescue, it would have been a very different outcome. 2, we didn't have the right equipment, and we didn't even know really. The training that we went and did, it was so eye-opening. Just making sure we have the right equipment. That boat, like I said, was the proper piece of equipment. 2-3 years ago, we'd been in a John boat, and it would have been disastrous. So. I just wanted to thank you guys for that. And also, again, I think I had mentioned this before, the snow we had previous to that, the pickup truck was a huge asset there, as far as accessibility. We also had another incident that required us to carry our extrication equipment about 3/4 of a mile off-road. And, we were even having trouble then spinning out in 4-wheel drive, getting where we needed to go. So, we weren't going to get there in the car. So again, I just wanted to thank you guys for supporting us, on those things. So,
How many do you have trained to do the?
I'm sorry?
How many are trained to do the water rescue?
We currently have, I think, 9, is it exactly? We're up to 11, okay. That's right, so we went and did 9 that first year that we went through, and again, it's not for everybody. Matter of fact, I went, the class that I went and did, we lost about 1/4 of our class in the first hour or 2.
Are all of our full-time trainees?
Yes, so they are, and then, of course, again, a lot of our volunteers. And again, I really got to thank them, commend them. From what happened the other night on Sunday, I couldn't be more proud of what happened. It was an incident. It looked very good. It was smooth, no issues at all. But again, the training was the key on that one. So, I like to thank my guys for taking the opportunity to, a lot of those guys have to take off work, guys and girls, to go down there and do that training. And it certainly paid off for us on Sunday. So.
The only other question I got is, what is the statewide burn ban right now? What is that? Is there a statewide?
Yes, okay, so statewide burn ban, we are now in the spring season. It has started, I am correct on that, right? It was February 15th. Yeah, so it has started the spring season. So what that is, again, this happens in the fall and the spring. So if you are burning within 150 feet of a woods or brushy area, and that's how it's defined, it's woods or a brushy area, then you have to wait till after 6 p.m. to burn. So you can burn between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. if you're less than that 150 feet. So if you're going to be burning 20 feet next to a field or whatever, gotta wait till after 6 p.m. If you're beyond that 150 feet, then, it's fine, it does not apply. So that's where we're at on that one. So thank you for bringing that up.
Well, I appreciate what you guys do.
All right. Thank y'all.
Yeah, thank you.
Bill, did you have anything? Did I call on you already? I think we have gone through everything. We just need a motion to adjourn.
So to adjourn.
Nate, Mark, let's go.